Hello and welcome to my channel Champagne and Stitches. My name is Sarah and this is Floss Tube number. So, I think it's been about 3 weeks since I last filmed. So I've got a finish to show you, a couple of new starts and some works in progress. So let's start with my finish. This was my one of my whip go calls a couple of months ago actually for Christmas, and I'm actually going to put the bag behind it because it's a bit sunny outside today. So this one I have now finished, even got the beads on it there. It was quite a simple little stitch. I think the last time you saw it I'd got the outline in and the tree and maybe one of the deers, so I've just been stitching this one in my car until I've got it finished, but I think that's a really sweet little stitch. It was from the Historical Sampler Company Advent Calendar from 2023. There were 3 stitches in it and this is the 3rd one, so now I've finished all 3 of them. So that is my finish for this week, and that is my little Christmas stitch from the Historical Sampler Historical Sampler Company Advent box. I've got a couple of new starts. This one, all my information has just fallen on the floor, so I shall have to hopefully remember. So this is the 2nd house in the Fabulous House series from last year from Cottage Garden Samplings. This is the castle. I finished Santa's house in my last video. I showed you the finish of that. So this is the 2nd one. And this is how far I've got so far on it. So again, I'll just use this. I'm not used to putting anything behind, but I did notice that the sun was showing through in the last sunny video. So excuse the hanging threads, but where I sort of work on it, I'm going to need these ones close by here, but I haven't got anything at the moment around them, so I just leave them where they will start. So I've been working on these bricks this morning actually. So essentially this is a full coverage. If you look at the pattern, the picture, this castle is completely full coverage, so it's quite a hefty stitch. I am enjoying it. The patterns are very repetitive, so once you sort of get into the groove of it, you know what you're doing. The fabric is from Coffee Craft Fabrics. It's a 28 count even weave, which she provided with the patterns because I get all of these patterns from her. And excitingly, the new series is coming out next month, I think in June, Into the Woods. So I'll be collecting those as well. So this is the castle. My needle minder is from the Black Needle Society Rainy Day box, which was a couple of boxes ago, I think, maybe even the last box. So I quite like that, and for some reason the castle makes me think of winter and rain and puddles and that sort of thing. So that is my start so far on the castle by Cottage Garden Samplings. So that's my first new start. My second new start was from Stitching with Charlie for her birthday sal, and she wanted us to stitch on something that was inspired by nature. So I chose the Artsy Housewife. I'm sure you all know it, A Study in Nature. And this is my start so far. Again, excuse the thread. So I didn't want to cut the fabric down. This is a 32 count linen by Lappin Loops called Curtain Call. This also came in a Black Needle Society box, but I didn't get the boxes at that point, sorry, I'm just picking that up. So I bought this from the vault. So I didn't want to cut the fabric down to work out to do a corner start, so I basically went for a centre start, which is why I'm working on the body, and then I shall move out into the wings. But I'm using a Roxy Floss Co conversion with the threads on this one. I should say actually for the castle I'm using the called for DMCs, and I think there is a couple of weeks dye works in that one. So this one is the Roxy Floss Co, and I can't wait to get onto the wings because I think that's probably the most exciting part. So that is my start for a study in nature. I have wanted to start this for a very, very long time, so I know nothing is stopping me start things, but I was very pleased that Charlie gave me a reason to actually pick it up and stitch it. So that is my second new start, a study in nature by the Artsy Housewife. So I have, I think 5 whips that I've been working on over the last few weeks. So the next 2 are my whip go calls for May. So I have kept up with them actually. The idea was to stitch 100 stitches on each one on alternate days. So T-Rex I've been stitching on odd days in the month. So it's the 25th today, so I need to do my stitches for this one today. But I've really noticed how well just putting 100 stitches in every day has really, really brought them on. So this is where I've got to with this one. I'll pop it on the table in a minute so you can see it properly. But I've come along, finished off the letters. I think I was only part way through the E when you saw it before. I think I'd done the R, done part of the E, and that was about it. So again, hanging threads, sorry, because if you work on it every day, I just leave the threads on it, or every other day, leave the threads on it for the next time I pick it up. So I'd done the R and I'd done the E before I started my whip go call in May on it. So I've basically got all of the blue in, all the teapots and teacups, and the X. So by the end of it, I should have finished this end of the stitching. So got this done and then be starting to move back this way into the dinosaur and T. And I forgot to say last time, this is on a 28 count Lugana from Atomic Ranch Fabrics called Weathered Stone, and my needle minder on this one is another Black Needle Society needle minder. This one came in the, I don't think it wasn't called, it was to do with books that had been banned. Can't remember what the books were called, but it was a really lovely box, so that I bought from the vault because there were still some available. So that's my needle minder. So that is my first whip. I need to get myself a board really, like the professionals have. That's my first whip, which is T-Rex by Silver Creek Samplers, if I didn't say that before. Really like this one. I've got the coffee one to go with it as well. So I will stitch that one up afterwards. And then my next whip go call was for Halloween. So it is this one, which is from the Witchy Stitcher. It's part of her Patreon. Lots of people were stitching this, lots and lots of colour conversions as well, but orange is my favourite colour, so I've just stayed with this one really. So again, 100 stitches every other day on even days on this one, and this is where I've got to with it. So again, just putting in those 100 stitches has really brought this one along. So I have been working, I think, since whip go. So I filled in this is a stitching hoop. So I filled in the background to this. I've completed more of the banner. I've popped the ghosts in. the bat, so I'm just on this bat now. So, and this one's much easier to judge. This one's on markup, so it's really easy to know if I've done my 100 stitches, whereas T-Rex isn't on markup, so I have to sort of count on that one. So I make sure I put a couple of extra stitches in just in case my counting is a little bit awry, but this one is pretty much 100 stitches whenever I pick it up. So this is on a Coffee Craft fabric. It is a 28 count even weave, and my needle minder is from Needle Minders UK, so my favourite needle minder. So that is my Witchy stitcher, Leave Me Alone. I'm cross stitching whip. Love that one. So following on from that, my next one is this one. This is Caroline Manning, Pomegranate Plum. And I've completed 4. There are 9 boxes, so there's a row down here and then the 2 here. And the way this one works is that this is a central motif. This one will be repeated here, this one will be repeated here, this one on the diagonal, and then one more that I haven't stitched yet will be repeated there. So I'm enjoying this one. Again, this is quite an easy stitch. It's on markup RXP, so I can see where I am with it. I love the little pops of green. That works really well with all the purples and the plums. So this one I sort of pick up regularly, just try to keep putting a little bit more in. I'm going to do this square next, just so that I've actually stitched all 5 different squares. And I am remembering this time round that to orientate it with this on the left every time, because when I initially started, I started this way, but so this is stitched one way, and then these 3 I turned it round, so they're all stitched a different way with my left to rights. And this needle minder is again another Black Needle Society needle minder from their Purple Madness box. So that is Pomegranate Plum by Caroline Manning. We are keeping on with a year at Hawk Run Hollow. Last time I had finished the April block, and I don't think I'd started the May block, so that's the one that I've been stitching. So here we are. Oh, let's try and get it all in. Just bear with me a minute. There we go. So forgive the crease down the middle. So that's the May block there. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know I have a bit of trouble with this one. I struggle a bit with counting, a bit of fluff on it. I quite often have the wrong colours in, but this block's actually been going really, really well. Right up until yesterday, when I miscounted. I didn't miscount actually, I didn't pay attention to the pattern, because actually these are all the same number of stitches, and then this one is actually 1 stitch less, and I didn't think about checking that, so I merrily stitched all of the brown in here, started to map out the next one. There's one more and then another partial one here, so I started to map those 2 out and realised that that wouldn't fit in, so I had to take out all of the brown stitching, which took a long time, and then I put it away, and I will start again after I finish filming actually. Not much more to do. I think I will be good to finish this one in May. I've just got, as I say, these couple of letters left, the little house, and then a few bees to put in, and that one's done. This one really does take up a lot of my time, I find, so whilst I enjoy it, I've already decided that next year I won't pick quite such a big project as a sort of, so this one for me has sort of been a yearly project, so start it on January the 1st and then hopefully have it finished by the end of the year. So I've already picked my project for next year, which is a lot smaller, so it won't take up quite as much of my time, but I really do enjoy this one. So that is my year at Hawk Run Hollow. That one is coming along. So that will be back in the hoop today, and I will be stitching on it later on. My next whip, so this is my last whip. I am loving this. This is, you will probably have seen this, pop something behind it. Probably have seen this one all over social media. This is Lola Crow's Extraordinary Bird Sal. So I had caught up with the frame. That was all ready to go. And then the first drop last week, so on Friday, so not the Friday just gone, week before, we had this. This is a spoon-billed stork, maybe, and a bird of paradise flower. So I'm saying that really quietly because actually I'm not convinced that I've got the names right, but anyway, we'll see. So finished those two, done the back stitching on those. I've still actually got to come up and do the back stitching here, but I'll wait till we're working up here in order to put that back stitching in. And then the drop on Friday was the one I was looking forward to. So we'd previously had a sneak peek of a blue-footed boobie. I love blue-footed boobies. I don't know why. It could be the blue feet. Who knows? Could be the name. But so the blue-footed boobie is going to come in here. So you can just see there's going to be a foot there, and there's another little bird on its back as well, a little finch. And then I think we've got some grass to put in behind there. So pleased to say that they're not actually, the drops for this haven't been as big as I seem to remember the Deadly Aquarium drops being. I always remember them as really, really being hard to get through in a week, but I think this one was 900 stitches. I think this drop is only 700 and something, so I should be able to get that one done by Friday, especially as it's actually half term here in the UK, so there isn't any school this coming week, which gives me a bit of extra time. So I shall certainly keep up with that one before the next drop on Friday. My needle minders here are from Cotton and Clay UK, and you could buy one or other of them, or you could buy them both together, and I obviously had to buy both of them because I love them both, so I wanted them both. And you see them on lots and lots of people's Extraordinary Bird whips, so that's great. So that is my final whip. That is Lola Crow. Excuse me a second. Really do need a board. Lola Crow Extraordinary Bird Sal. So that's that one. Okay, so that is all my whips. So plans, which have fallen on the floor, so bear with me. My plans for the next couple of weeks are the whip go calls actually were called today. So they were 21 and 23. So 21 for me is my project with the least percentage on it. So that's basically all my projects in markup RXP, and the project with the least in it. And I'll come back to that one in a minute. And the other whip go call was number 23. I've got it written down there. I don't know why it took me so long to actually remember the number. It's 23, which is my oldest whip. So that is Pot Sampler by Historical Sampler Company, which is actually on my whip go board a few times in different ways. So pleased that that one's going to come out again. I haven't decided what I'm going to stitch on that, but I keep seeing Just So Sherry on Floss Tube is also stitching it, and she only started it last month. It wasn't very long ago, but she is so far further on than I am with it that every time I see her show it, I think I must get it out. So I'm glad that that one's coming back out. And then I did think that my least percentage for my other whip go call was probably Pandemic, because that was on like 1.67%. So I was thinking it was going to be pandemic. And then when I actually checked Markup RXP, this one, I think I'd be more organised than putting everything on the floor. This one, Study in Nature, actually is at 1.37%. So this is the one that I'm going to stitch on for my Whip Go in June, which is good because it means I can carry on with it. And I'm going to try and get this one to 10%, which I don't think will be very hard. Off the top of my head, it's something like 12,000 stitches. So I just need to get to sort of, 1,200, something like that. So that should be okay to get that one done. And I'm quite pleased it's not pandemic actually, because I also want to join in slightly late, because it's already started, but join in with the Whip Into Shape sal that's being run by Andrew the Runner Stitcher on Floss Tube. So if you don't watch the Runner Stitcher, he is training to run a marathon. So he's done marathon before, but he's training to do another marathon in sort of the autumn time. And what he does is he is plotting how many miles he trains every day and then turning that into stitches. So I think it is for every mile he runs, it's 10 stitches. So if he does a 5-mile run, it's a 50 stitch for that one. That took a while. That was a bit of maths in my head there. So although I am behind on starting, I think the first couple of weeks that he's been training have sort of got around about 270 stitches. So that one I am going to do as well, but I'm actually going to be doing that one in June with pandemic as part of June Dog. So I'm actually quite glad that pandemic wasn't also called for Whip Go, because I would have felt that I was cheating a bit using one project for 3 different things. But so I can cope with it being for the Whip Into Shape sal and also being as part of sort of June Dog, because that was my birthday start in December last year, and as I say, it's at less than 2%, so I really need to get cracking on that one. So I think apart from my usual stitching, obviously finished the May block of Hawk Run Hollow and crack on with the June block, try and get that one started early, keep up to date with the Lola Crow drops for Extraordinary Birds, 2 Whip Go calls and pandemic, probably enough to keep me going. And then I've obviously got lots of things, so I've also got the castle from my brain is not working today. I've got the castle from Cottage Garden Samplings, so that's an easy one to pick up if I just need a sort of palette cleanser on all the other stitches. And the other thing actually is in my plans to start Seaside Tiny Town. So not set in stone, I don't have to start it, it's just one of the things at the beginning of the year I sort of mapped out things I wanted to start in 2025 to try to space them out a bit. And so I had the Big Hearted Tiny Town for sort of the first half of the year, which I have finished, and then for the second half of the year I was going to do Seaside Tiny Town. So that's a possible new start for June. But apart from that, again, plenty to be going on with. So I think that's it. Please don't forget to like and comment on my video, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I was very excited just before I started filming, so I've been on 199 subscribers for a few days, and when I looked just before, mainly to check what floss tube number this was, I've gone over, I think I was at 205, so that was quite exciting for me to see a little jump over the 200 mark. So if you're not subscribed, I'd love it if you subscribe. And that's about it, I think. See you in a couple of weeks. Thank you for watching.